Welcome to Untangled, where we're untangling Christianity from theology, religion, and colonization. And in this lesson, we're dealing with the idea of understanding God as the ultimate goodness. And if you got here, you probably got here from catching a couple of really cool thoughts. Either you caught eternity doesn't change, but it does keep moving, or God isn't a thing, but he's the abstraction of all things. And if you caught either one of those things, then we're able to really delve into the next part of understanding God as the ultimate goodness, because you're able to use what they called the African theory of duality, or that the Roman gods called Janus. The idea is being able to think about one thing from two different ways. And so if you got here, you're able to do that. And so using that, we're going to talk about God. And we're going to talk about God as being good. So here's how it works. In order to do that, you have to recognize that anything we might describe actually has two essences. If I was to ask you to describe fire, you'd say hot, burn, whatever it might be. But then I say, well, describe to me the essence of fire. And you would say, it's like a fast moving heat thing, right? And I would say, yeah, but not quite that, right? You'd say, yeah. And I would say, okay, in order for you to recognize that it's not what you described, you have to know that there's a thing more pure than it. But you don't even have words to describe that thing. You just know that it's a more pure version of what you're using. And you would say, yes. And I would say, that thing is an abstraction. That is the definition by which you're trying to measure what you're describing. And I would say that abstraction is the perfect description of whatever you're describing. So that abstraction is the perfect description of fire. You would say, yes. Then I would say that abstraction is by definition good, because it's the perfect description of fire. And you'd say, yes. And I would say, that definition, that abstraction, that thing, that essence you're describing, that is God. And every time you describe that thing, you will always say, that's a perfect definition of it. And I would say, so you would say it's the best version of whatever it is you described. And you would say, yes. And I would say, so by definition, every time you describe that thing, it's good. And you would say, yes. And I would say, and that thing is God. And you would say, what? And I would say, God is good. He is the definition or the abstraction of everything that exists. So you can see that God is good, because whatever you would define the perfect abstraction, that thing is God. So if that's true, then in the goodness gospel, what I want you to do is serve goodness. The thing that you're using to describe goodness, the essence of goodness, I want you to serve that in every way possible, in as many ways as you can control. And if you can do that, then guess what? You are by definition serving God, because you're serving the best version of whatever it is you're doing, which is God. That's how we use the African theory of duality to explain God as good. He is the definition or the abstraction of all things. He is always good.